Hello, everybody, and welcome to another week in review here on my channel. This is week 17. I checked, so I know it's actually 17 this time. And we'll look at what I did this week. So we'll start again with the timed poses. So I mentioned last week that I've been doing these cross contour lines because a lot of the stuff I do feels very flat, I think. That's like the number one issue I have. Let's see if there's a good example here. Like maybe this one, he looks a little flat, right? And like this one kind of does from above, but because I put in these cross contour lines on the legs, even though they aren't really accurate, eh? But it kind of brings more, what would you call it? It brings more dimensionality to things. Like this one's kind of flat. I find it really difficult to, let's move to the next day, to make things look like they're actually three-dimensional. So like, you know, like this one, you can kind of get some like with the butt cheeks here and like stuff like this where the legs connect. But for the most part, it doesn't really come across to me. And I don't really know how to do that. Maybe like with line weight, that's another thing I could do. But I've been trying to do it at least on the legs, cross contour lines like this, because I think it's helpful in helping me visualize what's going on as well. Not just showing what's going on, but helping me understand what's going on too. Although I say that, but it's after the fact that I do these cross contour lines. So it's kind of like I draw something flat and then I'll like apply these lines onto it, and then I start to see it, you know? I wish I could see it before I actually do the drawing. I don't know. Just some things I'm thinking of. I want to get better at like form, you know, although this one looks pretty good. Like depth. Some of them turn out pretty good, you know, here and there. Every now and then there's one that I'm like, that's pretty good. Like this leg here could be bigger, you know, when things are coming toward the camera. Foreshortening. There's so many little things that play into it. It's not just like these cross contour lines. That's like one aspect of it that helps. Oops. But there's also stuff like foreshortening, perspective, all this stuff that it's too much to take in at once. So I'm trying to just do like maybe one thing at a time. Angles like this, you know, it's hard. This is not easy. But that's kind of what I've been thinking this week. Again, though, I'm not really taking this too seriously. I'm just having fun. This pose was crazy. I think this Bruce Lee here turned out okay. A lot of these are okay, right? Like, I feel like the balance, I've really kind of naturally picked it up, like subconsciously. Not all of the time, but like, usually when I'm working on one of these, I'll notice like, oh, the balance looks a little off. And then I can kind of shift it. So, and you're trying to use like gesture and like lines of motion a little bit where I can. I can only do it on some poses, like certain poses. I don't know why. It's hard for me to use gesture. I always find that I'm falling back on contour, more so than construction. I feel like I'm slacking on construction. Maybe I need to look at, this one's pretty good. Go back and look at what it exactly is that I'm doing with like the torso and the pelvis. Anyway. Yeah. That's about that for my poses here. Oh, and then today's. So this is from today. This low angle one was pretty hard. But again, I think I'm a lot better at this sort of thing, this low angle. Like I don't struggle with it as much. I remember I used to really just completely, my mind would go blank and I would draw something like a flat dwarf, you know, with giant legs. It wouldn't look like it was, you know, at an angle like this, a low angle. And I think what that is I'm learning not to show too much. So for example, the back here, the torso kind of gets hidden by the pelvis here because the spine is going in and then it's hidden and then it's coming out again and then going underneath. I used to not really consider that. And so I would just draw the spine, the whole spine, having it visible. And then you would come up with somebody back straight to the camera, you know? And then you would get something weird. But I'm learning to not do that more and more as time goes on. Not show too much. So I'm happy with that. Yeah, there's my poses. not too bad. I'm happy with them. And for the recap, I did, let me show this one first. So I did this one last week, sometime last week, I think on like Friday or something. And I liked how it turned out. And so I decided to do like a 4 seasons sort of thing. So I started with this one. This was like, it was supposed to be summer, but I don't know, the color's not really summery, hey? I spent too long stuck on the hair, trying to figure out what to do with the hair. And, but it's very crayon-y, hey? I also got kind of held up coloring the shirt and stuff, so it kind of, it's the worst out of them all, I think, just because I didn't have enough time to really do what I wanted to do. But I think it turned out fine. This one was spring. I like the colors that I picked. I tried to do more vibrant because the spring one came out a little too dark. This one was fun though. This shirt was really, really hard. But I had fun doing this bow and this ribbon. You know, thinking of like like how this ribbon would like turn and curve. And same with like this bow. Thinking of like the underside here and the upside. Upside and underside, whatever. English. So that was pretty fun. And again, I'm practicing placing shadows like this. Thinking about basically like the border of the shadows. I really like doing it that way. Rather than like grabbing multiplied brush and just kind of painting over. I like drawing the borders. It's fun. So that was spring. Next we did fall here. This one was a little more simplistic. I didn't want to get held up, so I kind of went a little quicker. And I did a bit of gradients like within the layers here, so it's like brighter toward the edge and like darker in here. Same with like the shirt. And like the hair as well. The colors are kind of off on the hair, I think, but overall I think this one was, I mean, it's fine. You know, it was fun. So that's kind of like a themed thing that I did here. I like the idea of doing something themed, because then I don't need to worry about what I'm going to draw today, you know? What am I going to draw today? It's always such a big problem I have. And since I had this ready to go, you know, okay, I'm doing a seasons, so what season should I do today, you know? It cuts it down from, you know, picking between 1 in a million things to do to 1 in 4, right? So, and yeah. And again, for the poses, I just picked, you know, one of the poses that I did on one of these days, you know, whatever day it was. I picked one of them and then turned it into this, just made it a little more cleaned up. And so in doing all of this, and just lately in general, I learned that I need to work on, or that I would like to work on, faces more. So I finished up this head grid thing, which is kind of too big for my screen here. And I drew some faces on here. I'm going to try and do this off stream, you know, every day. Practice drawing some faces, some eyeballs, placing facial features and stuff. It's kind of blurry because I have it really small. But I just drew a bunch of faces and a weird fish here. But it's just something I need to practice. So that's kind of the thing that I'm working on right now, and like thinking about what the, you know, like what the profile would look like, you know, how I want to draw the mouth from the side, that sort of thing. All these little important things about the face, you know, different expressions. So I'm kind of working on that right now. It's a long-term thing. Yeah. Anyway, that's that. Next, I played Passepartout on Saturday. I've been doing this on Saturday. It's pretty fun. If you don't know this game, it's like a painting simulator. So I drew Korone here. It's all on one layer. So it's like, it's really hard to lay out the sketch, and then, you know, you got to constantly draw over things and like make sure your line art is on point, make sure you know what lines are what. And again, like the face, I think working on the face has helped me a little bit here, but I'm still really bad at it, hey? I need to work on it, but I think this one turned out okay. You know, it's fine. This game is really fun. It's kind of relaxing. It takes a lot of the, what do you call it? Not stress, but like a lot of the pain out of the way, because it's just throwaway drawings in a, you know, in a drawing game. So it's been nice. I've been doing that on Saturdays. And then last thing I did, yesterday I did this. Don't ask me how I came up with this idea, but this is for the prompt, the weekly prompt that we do on this channel. I drew this, which is, my idea was shadow puppets, and this was the original pose, just this one. It was like running away was kind of what the pose was doing. And then we also did the word shadow. So I don't know, I kind of got the idea to do shadow puppets, and I grabbed a couple other poses, put them in front of each other, and somehow they are creating a cat, you know? I thought it was funny. And it turned out pretty good. This is the first time I've really tried like blending, you know, light and dark. I basically just thought about contrast, not really about color, but like have really dark shadows up here and like brighter around the cat. You know, it'd be darker over here sort of thing. And like the curtains on this stage or whatever it is, you know, brighter down here. I was just thinking of where the light is and where the dark is. And it actually turned out to be a really good practice of like, okay, what shadow is being cast on this figure, and like this figure, like this arm is being cast here. And it probably doesn't make sense if you like, you know, put this into a 3D thing and cast the light. It wouldn't look like this, but it was fun thinking about what could be happening, you know. I kind of accidentally had a lot of fun with this one. So yeah, I think it was pretty enjoyable. Anyway, that's my week in review. So I'll be back next week with another week in review. I guess this is what I'm doing now. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Cut.